Okay, this is the stretching and shrinking video for Algebra 2. Today in class, you found that over here on the HK formulas, that it was not the A value necessarily that caused the reflection. Rather, it's whether or not we have a negative in front of that A. If there is a negative, it will be a reflection of the previous parent graph. So, now tonight what I want you to look at, what causes stretching and shrinking in graphs? Is it the A, the H, or the K? If you read the notes here, I indicate it has something to do with that A value. So I ask you to highlight the A value in this formula. Highlight it there, 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 and there. We're going to be dealing with that in our graphs tonight. And it causes stretching and shrinking. So I ask you in the next little section to complete number 2 and 3 in the transformation sheets. You will turn back to your transformation sheets and you will begin doing number 2 and 3. Let's look at number 2 real quickly. It is 1/2 times the values from the parent graph. So if you go up here and look at your parent graph, these were undefined, so they'll remain undefined in this. But now, at 0, 1/2 of 0, the square root of 0 is 0, 1/2 of 0 is 0. So you can also just go ahead and calculate these. The square root of 1 is 1. 1/2 of 1 is 1/2. The square root of 4 is 2. 1/2 of 2 is 1. So to graph this, we start at 0. At 1, we go up to 1/2. And at 4, we only go out to 1. So you see a different view from here to here. If you look at it and think of this area right there, we've really shrunk this down to the x-axis. And that's truly what the transformation is called, is shrinking, or we say that it was shrunk by a factor of 1/2. We get that from the formula right here, 1/2. That's what we're multiplying everything by. So the next one, you would go 2 times square root of x. Square root of x being -4. We cannot have a real answer to the root of -4, so it's undefined on this graph. Undefined and undefined, all due to the negatives. Now, square root of 0 is 0, times 2 is 0. Square root of 1 is 1, times 2 is 2. Square root of 4, we skip 2 because it doesn't come out nice without the calculator. Square root of 4 is 2, times 2 is 4. So now when we graph this one at 0, 0, at 1, 2, and then out here at 4, 4, we notice from the parent graph to this graph, now we're taking that distance between x and the graph and we're stretching it. So we call that a stretch by a factor of 2. So now go ahead and do your calculations for the cube root. It's on the very next page. go ahead and begin calculating these values. Pause the video. The calculations for the 1/2. Again, you can take either the values from the parent graph and cut them in half, or you can recalculate them. These are the points that you would get. And so when we graph that, again, we notice that out here at -8, it's -1. At -1, it's 1/2. So we get real close to that x-axis on both of those. So according to looking at your parent graph and looking at your graph here, again, you've shrunk the distance between the graph and the x-axis. So we say that's shrunk by 1/2. The next one, when we multiply by 2, we get those increased values. It causes that distance to stretch. So we say stretched by factor of 2. Please go ahead and do the following graphs. I'm going to end the video here because I think you're going now. Just go over and do your exponential, number 2 and 3. Do your next exponential at 2 and 3. And do your rational expression at 2 and 3. I'm going to do the first calculation in each table with you, just so you can see how to run those calculations. So, on this one, we plug the -3 in for our exponent. 2 to the -3rd again was 1/8. 1/2 of 1/8 would be 1/16. So you're literally taking the bottom number and multiplying it by 2 when you take 1/2 of it. When you get down here to 0, that is 1, taking 1/2 of that would be 1/2. 2, that's 4, taking 1/2 of that would be 2. And then go ahead and fill in the others. You should get a graph that is either shrunk or stretched there. On the next problem, it's an exponential function as well. You need to raise it to this power or take the value out of here and then multiply that by 1/2 to get your values here. And the very last one, this can be kind of tough. Take 1/2 divided by -4. I usually write it out this way, divided by -4. I need to skip, flip, and multiply, so 1/2 times 1 over -4, which equals -1/8. So if you look at the value here, it was a -1/4. Right there, that's what we multiplied by 1/2. So we get -1/8. You can take these values and literally take 1/2 of those to see what this does. When you get done with those graphs before class tomorrow, I would like you to come back up and explain stretching and shrinking and how it occurs. It is the a value. When a is a fraction and the absolute value is greater than 0 but less than 1, it either stretches or shrinks it. Tell me which it is. And then when a is greater than 1, it does the other one. So if you could tell me when the absolute value of a is greater than 1, which it does. Thank you very much.